Oh.
Ladies, this is what you miss when you don't come to class. It's the glitter shoe.
The sparkly shoes of the day are my Disney princess Sorels, because how perfect is that combination? They're quite comfortable.
Of course, they'll probably say, yeah, and you miss all the germs too.
Yes, you might miss.
Ira, you need to mute us all.
Mute you all. Yes, I'll mute you all.
Good morning.
All right. And let's see if I can go to full screen. Okay, here we go. Take a moment to put your feet on the ground. Close your eyes and feel your weight. Just notice between the right and left foot, how is it? And notice if your tendency is to lock knees, or can you kind of stay in one place and create a wiggle of your legs. And notice, like, how is that? Do you have tension in certain places that wants to just stay? And sometimes we can ask the body, why is it doing that? If the strategy is to go into a lock or a tightening, what is the strategy? What's it compensating for positionally that it needs to create that lock to just stand there? Because in an ideal world, standing has a little bit of a release. So, from that place, let's just go right ahead and start with our head. Notice where your head is in space. Is it over your shoulders? And then take your ear toward a shoulder. And as you do that, allow one arm to come in. So we can imagine that we have nerves that go down through the neck, come out through the vertebrae, and then either come through the front, through the brachial plexus, or go down the back of the shoulder. And as we bring the arm in, we create a shortening on this side, and so that the neck can lengthen, and maybe the head can come all the way over. And then come up, bring that in, take your head over, ear toward your shoulder, and just feel what's your range. And again, we're talking about these nerves that go from the vertebrae in the neck, either through the front, through the brachial plexus, or down the back side of that shoulder. And neural tension is what can activate or control muscle contraction. It's the power supply to all of those muscles. Over to one side, come on up, over to the other side. And just notice, like you can see, I have a pretty big difference between the right and left side. I've had a bit of a kink in my neck for a little bit. I'm trying to work it out. Up and over, and up and over. Big full breath. Now, some of these muscles that maybe aren't so active is because something's a little bit pinched. And maybe we don't notice that the pinch happens until it's really pinched. We can't feel it until it's 90% pinched or something. Good. From there, let's just do some circles. And now we're starting to pull on nerves into your arms and into your legs. I remember many, many years ago somebody saying to me, yeah, bones and muscles are pretty cool, but nerves are even cooler. And I wasn't really into nerves yet, so I was like, yeah, cool. I don't really get it, but now I do.
I bet. I wasn't into nerves yet.
All the way up, all the way down. All the way up, all the way down. Good. Go back to that leg wiggle and just see, did any of that change it? We mostly moved nerves that go into the arms and upper body, but let's see now if we've activated some muscles just by pulling on some things if you have an easier time activating things. So shoulder rolls up and back and around, and just find balance between the two sides. Up and back and around. And just, how is it between the two sides? Can you get both shoulder blades to squeeze to the midline of your body? Are you activating muscles as you move into a new position? Do you feel that change? And go the other way. Squeeze them back and bring them up and around. Good. Arms circles, hands into the golfer's grip, arms out to the side. Pinch your shoulder blades together. Find that even contraction between the two sides and notice. Let's go ear to the shoulder again. Can you pull on those nerves on either side and then go into that contraction again and see if that changed at all? Circle forward, 40 circles. Palms up, squeeze, and soften those knees. Give that little jazz legs, circle backwards. Can both shoulder blades hug toward your spine? Can you find subscapularis, rhomboid, mid-trap, all of those muscles? Are they working? Do you have to change into the rib cage or diaphragm a little bit to get that to happen? And release. Nice. Come down onto your hands and knees. So just by virtue of taking our legs into this bent knee position, we're changing the tension on the nerves that come out from here, come down the outside of through the pelvis down and activate the legs. They still have tension at the head. So go ahead and look down and then look up and lengthen all the way up. Can you take your head into full extension and then chin down, let your head slide forward. See how far it can go. Now please stay out of pain. If that hurts, that big of a range of motion hurts anywhere in your neck, please go and do much less of a range of motion. Stay out of pain. Let's not irritate tissues. All the way down, all the way up, all the way down, all the way up, and then side to side. Ear again toward a shoulder, and over to the other side. One more. Breathe. The nerve that activates the diaphragm is also in the neck. Then thread your shoulders, squeeze them together, bring them up. So top muscles, top vertebrae in the neck, bottom shoulder muscles, the bottom vertebrae in the neck. So feel them move, and do you have control of the right and left side as you do that? Can you take it into a 3-point stance by taking one hand to the opposite side and thread the shoulder as well? So sink the shoulder blade toward your spine and take it up, all the way down, all the way up, forcing your body to have to find its stabilization. And then switch. Find the control on this side. Push all the way up, shoulder blade away from your spine, sink the shoulder blade toward your spine. All the way up, all the way down. And then play with, if you need to look up a little bit to find those muscles better, does that change it for you? Both hands down on the floor again, a few more, and then take it into a cat and dog. all the way down. Rounding your spine, pressing your shoulder blades apart, and then lifting your tailbone, melting your shoulders. All the way up, all the way down. Excellent. Come down onto your back. Let's come down with good spine hygiene. I was gonna roll down, but I'm gonna change it. So when you come down onto your side. Keep your spine in good alignment as you come down and come onto your back. And then just feel, what's your tendency as you get down into this position? Do you have a slight curve in your back still? Okay, arms out to the side. Find the middle back again, rhomboids. Squeeze the shoulder blades in toward your spine and release. Squeeze, release. Squeeze, release. And then bring your arms up. Let's do bend the elbows, slide the hands up. Everything is stable right now in your back. So if you feel your back arch up off the floor as your arms go up, stabilize a little bit. I don't need your back to be flat to the floor, but I do want that neutral spine to happen as your arms go all the way up. And then let your shoulder blades slide up so that your arms are hugging by your ears, and then elbows come down, and arms go back up, all the way up, and slide the shoulder girdle, bring the shoulder girdle down, elbows down, all the way up, down, up, down. Excellent. Now let's just check, how are your hips doing today, and is there any kind of hip disparity? So check the right leg and just bring the right knee out to the side with the foot on the ground and just see, how is that external rotation in that hip? And how does that compare to the left side? Keep your pelvis stable so the rotation happens just in the leg bone. And just notice between the two sides, do a couple more of those. How does it feel? How far does it go? One more. Do you get all the way to your butt muscles? When you take that leg up and you turn it outwards, do you get to your glutes? Yes. Good. So we all have a little bit different depth of hip sockets, or maybe where the hip socket is located on the front or the back of your pelvis, or moved that way. And that may change how much rotation. So we can say 40 and 45 degrees is about normal, but all of us are a little different. And maybe you have one side that is tighter in the capsule, tighter in the muscle, or just is a different shape than the other side. And that's all good information to have. I was at Woodward the other day and there was a 15-year-old girl that was, had her foot around so much she could set her chin on her foot, and I asked her if I could examine her hips, and she had huge external rotation, but no internal rotation at all. It was pretty interesting. So maybe she had retroverted acetabulums.
Oh, no.
Or she just had narrow hip sockets so that amount of external rotation could happen. Okay, pelvic tilts, rock back and forward. But something was definitely different in her structure to not have any internal rotation at all. Backward and forward. Good. Grab your block, roll to your side. We're gonna do just some rotator cuff work. So keeping your arm by your side, just rotate your arm up. So stabilize at your spine, bring the arm down and up, and just do a little bit of external rotation with that arm block.
Say that word again, retroverse.
Retroverted acetabulums. There's some people, a small percentage of people have the hip socket shifted to the back of their hip a little bit, so they can rotate way out, and usually they walk with their feet out, that aligns their hip, but they can't go the other way very well. And there's anteverted acetabulums also, people that have them that go to the inside a little bit.
If you're not knee, is that anteverted?
No, not necessarily. It could be part of that. Good. Okay, take that arm up, then turn it, take the hand behind you, open that shoulder, back up, and down. Up, rotate, behind you. My computer is saying low battery, so we may lose you in just a few minutes. I'm really sorry about that. I will bring the plug next time. Other side, external rotations. All the way up, all the way down.
It's a hangover, a holiday hangover.
Yeah, holiday hangover. Apparently I was watching hours and hours of how to do back exams with no plug in my computer. Super exciting. It is pretty cool though. Good. Up, rotate, down behind you, back up, open. I got some crunches. Anybody else? Okay, tie that together again with the cat and dog. And then move your knees back behind you. Let your belly hang into a static extension position. And then play with the position of your head a little bit and see if that changes the sensation of muscles that are working in your back. So if your head is down and you're pulling the nerves forward, what does that feel like? And if you're lifting your head, can you change some of the muscles in between the shoulders or into your low back that are working or active? And then let your head drop again and do chest openers. Move the elbows in and out. So find a neutral position. In and out, turning the arm bone in the shoulder socket. And hopefully that feels like the two sides are getting more even. And then come on up. Come into a kneeling groin stretch. Let's activate your toes today. So one hip forward, one hip back. Lift and lower your toes. Lift them up, press them down. Lift and press. Lift and press. Activating the muscles by finding the position all the way from the foot into the calf, stabilizing behind the knee. And switch sides. Take it forward, lift and press. Into seated. Sitting with your legs out straight. Pull your toes back, separate them just a little bit, hands behind you. Look up, head over shoulders, over hips. Tighten your thighs, activate the muscles all the way around the knee. Keep that tight, and then try and touch the feet to the floor on the outside and in. All the way out, all the way in. So many tourists coming in that they were wanting to just keep everybody safe, is what they said. Awesome. Okay, into a sitting floor twist. Cross the left leg over the right. Bring the left hand behind you. Now, if this feels destabilizing at all or there's any pain for you, it may not be appropriate. If it feels good, go for it. Don't push into it. Allow your muscles to be what's twisting you, not the press. So sit really tall, find the muscles through your back, your obliques, your torso, and allow that twist to happen. Big full breaths. Untwist. Switch side. Pull your toes back, sit tall, open it up. Big breath. Is there a difference between how far you can rotate from one side to the other? Just notice that. Untwist. Onto your back. Feet on the floor, knees bent. Put your block between your knees. Squeeze and release. As the leg bone comes in to stabilize at the hip socket, that slight curve at the low back, gentle rounding at the thoracic back, and curve in your neck exist. Shoulders gently tucked underneath you. Squeeze, release, squeeze, release. Go ahead and grab the strap. Place the strap around your knees. Pull out. Find your butt muscles. As you pull out, you should feel it on the sides of your glutes. Press, release. Then take your hips off the floor, up and down, find your glutes that way, pulling out on the strap, down and lift. Pull that strap off your feet. Put the bottom of your feet together. Allow your knees to drop out to the side into a frog. And just allow the adductors to be pulled on as your knees drop out, you should have a little more arch in your back. It's going to pull a little extension into your pelvis, into your low back. And just hold that for 2 minutes. You can put your hands on your belly and do some deep breathing. Deep, full breath in, fully out. 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 Hold it. Hold, squeeze, 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 squeeze. Squeeze your ribs, squeeze your lungs, squeeze it out. And then allow the inhale to happen. And bring your legs back in. We're gonna go through that one more time. Grab your block. Press in on your block. If I lose you, press in on your block, press out on your strap, lift your hips off the ground, and then frog. Squeeze, release, 60 squeezes. Make those adductors work. Find the even contraction on both of the adductors, both muscles on the insides of your legs. Then find your strap again. Press out 60 times. And then active bridges, lift and lower, all the way up, all the way down, 20 times. And then take that strap off. Put the bottom of your feet together, let your knees drop out into a frog. Hands onto your belly. Deep breaths. Fully in, fully out. Fully in, fully out. Like a circle. All the way in, all the way out. 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 One more. Completely blow the air out and hold your breath. Hold, hold, hold. See if we can get 30 seconds. Of course, if you need to breathe, you can. Draw it in. Pelvic tilts. Rock it back and forward. See if you can get both sides of your back to move, both sides of your pelvis to roll at the same rate. Excellent. Roll to the side. Use both your blocks. And then if there's tension in the front of your legs, you're going to feel this. But I want you to just lean back a little bit. And then push back up. Lean back. Push back up. That's going to be work, a lot of work. If that feels uncomfortable, you could just hang out like this for a minute. And that still puts some tension on the quad that may be too tight on one side or the other. If you can, yeah, lean back. You could also stay here if it feels more stable and just lower your hips a little bit and press your hips back up. So any of those moves. And maybe you feel different tension between one side of the quadricep and the other. And maybe that quadricep or psoas is driving some rotation into your body. Good. This is an optional move again, Ustrasana or camel pose in yoga. Tuck your toes under, really get the bottom of your foot to open, and then reach back to your heels. Tuck your tailbone, open your shoulders, and take your head back. If that doesn't feel accessible to you or there's pain anywhere, please skip it. And then come on out of it. Excellent. Downward facing dog pose. Tuck your toes, press yourself up and back. Full hand on the ground, press through your whole arm, hands toward your shoulders. Take your hips up and back, and then you decide, do you need to prioritize your spine by bending your knees, or can you work your legs towards straight? Let one heel release and then the other. And then come down, put one foot forward, tuck the back toes under, and come up into a runner stretch. If you need a little more height here, you may use your blocks. Square your hips, press your legs as straight as you can. Lengthen your body forward, trying to put a bit of an arch in your lower back. So one hip is much more flexed here than the other. Just breathe and lengthen. And you can also see here, if moving your head around changes the neural tone, you have those nerves that go down both of those legs. And maybe the nerve is tight that makes it so it's hard to get that leg straight. And release. Switch your legs. Tuck your toes. Square your hips. That means usually the back hip needs to come forward a bit. Make sure the weight is even between the feet, front hip moving back. And then put that arch or move toward that arch in your back. And then again, we can see if moving your head around changes anything for you. One more downward facing dog pose. Look up, look down. Walk your feet to your hands. Hang in this forward fold. If you need to be knees bent to keep your body more safe, you can, that's fine. If your legs being straight feels okay and your butt is higher than your back. If your back is higher than your butt, please bend your knees. If your butt's higher than your back, probably okay there. And then lengthen your head all the way up, look up, and again, look down, tuck the head, pull on those nerves. Inhale, lengthen through the back. Exhale, fold one more time. And then bend your knees, hands to your hips, come all the way up. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold. Step back. Push-up position or plank. Hold it. Rotate your feet to one side. Hold a side plank or some version of this. Knees coming down is fine. And then stiff like a board, come back to your push-up position. Stiff like a board, come over to the other side and reach it up there. Back to push-up position. Bring your knees down or keep your feet up if you're feeling advanced. 10 push-ups. Take your knees wide and take it back toward a child's pose. Feel if it's even as you go back. Feel that place where your tailbone wants to start to tuck down. Just notice. And then come on up. work today. Come into whatever position you'd like to be in for your meditation. And again, it's very possible the computer could just stop working at any moment. So, get in tune with your physical body. Notice your breath and where it's moving through your body. Close your eyes. And just step into the seat of the witness today without changing anything. Notice what's showing up. Notice if there's emotion that arises. Notice if there's a thought that arises. Notice if there's a feeling in your body somewhere that your attention is pulled toward. How do you simply show up to what is happening right here in the present moment? Notice that if your eyes are closed, there's space in the visual field that maybe contains images or pictures or just space or bits of light. What are the sounds that exist right here? Where does breath move in the body? If a thought shows up, where is it?